In today's video, I am going to show you how to utilize assistants and agents within the AI Studio. So, in case you weren't aware, we have several other AI-based documentation and videos available. So this one isn't going to go through the AI Studio in great detail. Really, we're just focusing on assistants and agents. And so what I found is for most of our clients who are interested in kind of learning AI, usually the first place they step into is building out a chat. So the way that we're going to do that is within AI Studio, we're going to come over here to assistants and we're going to create a new assistant. Now, I do have the ability to do data analytics. That's covered in a different doc and a different video. We're just going to do just a simple demo here of using our general purpose. So I'm going to say create. And just like that, this creates our assistant. And this is just a bare bones assistant. I can do things like pick different LLMs and things like that based on what AI agencies, AI providers you've signed up with. In my case, I'm just going to fire up using Claude. But right now, this is what I would call like just a very simple helper. If I ran this question and, if I ran this chat and asked it a question or a statement like hello, it's interacting with the LLM, right? The large language model. That's great. But if I were to say here, show me a list of clients, it's not going to know what that means because I haven't hooked it into anything in our back to our database. So that's typically where you're going to do that over here within this AI assistant add tool. And I have a whole other video and doc talking all about different tool functions. So I'm going to kind of work through this fairly quickly, but just know that this is covered in great detail within some other documents on our site. So in our case, I just said, hey, AI assistant, go out and know that you have access to this set of data, which is just a retrieval that will allow Empower and the LLM to be able to communicate with behind the scenes. So if I were to run the same request I ran before and said, show me customers that have Amboy in the name, right? It's able to, the LLM understands the request, is able to work back with Empower, run a query, and find that record, right? So that's quite a bit of a difference there between kind of a smart assistant versus a basic one. So the idea is as you're creating assistants, these assistants should be designed to solve a single problem, right? So maybe you have an assistant that's just getting customer information, and maybe you might have another assistant that could get order information or something like that, right? So you want to try to build out your assistant so they're as small as possible, so that way you don't want to have an assistant trying to do too many things, right? So you want to have these kind of bite-sized pieces with assistants. Now, where I'm sure you're thinking with this is, okay, great, well, let's say we have multiple assistants. We don't want to let the end user have to go to different applications or different chats to get an answer. That would be silly, right? We wouldn't want to tell them, hey, go run this URL for information about customers, but instead run this URL, which is different, to get information about another piece. That's silly, right? So that's where the concept of agents comes into play. So if we move on here to the agent allows you to group all of your assistants together. So here, if I call this my demo agent. So when you're creating an agent, the most important thing here, though, there's lots of configurations that are again covered in the doc, but the agent type here is what makes the biggest impact. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to pick a supervisor agent. And what that does is that allows you to go over here and pick whatever assistants you want to have included within this one agent. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is by creating this one agent with these 2 child assistants within them, that now says, all right, the end user can come over here and run this chatbot, right? So now they're running an agent, right? They don't know any different. It looks the same to them. But because you've chosen the supervisor agent type, the request will come in to this agent, and the supervisor then doles out the request behind the scenes to the right assistant. So good design would say build lots of assistants and build, a single agent, and then add all of the assistants to that agent. So that way for your end user, it's one-stop shopping in terms of being able to search within the chat, interact with the chat, get the right answer. And for you as a developer to be able to have all of these bite-sized individual assistants. So that is the premise there with assistants versus agents. I will also say that, like I said, 9 times out of 10, you're using the supervisor agent type. There are other ones that for those other times, there's things like the ability to be able to call your assistants sequentially, as well as to be able to call them in a loop. So those things are defined here, but based on my testing and talking with clients, it does seem that the supervisor agent type is the one that is most commonly needed and requested. Okay. If you have questions about this, please let us know. We're happy to help. And thank you.